Shabbat shalom. Hi. May I ask you to please be seated? Pretty much everybody is almost seated. You can't hear me. Okay. Maybe that's better. Okay. I'll do my best. And keep letting me know. We don't want you not to hear. I just wanted to remind you all to please make sure that your cell phones and any devices are silenced. My name is Betty Adams. I'm co-president of Temple Sinai along with Lynn Weinstein. And I want to give a warm welcome to everyone here in our sanctuary and watching from home. We're so happy to have you celebrating Shabbat with us. And I'm really happy to say that tonight's service will be led by our Rabbi, Aviva Bass, and student cantor. Oh, let me give you a chance for that because she needs that, yes. And get ready again, student cantor Daniel Geigerman. And of course, with our accompanist and occasional vocalist, Dr. David McFarlane. Before I turn the service over to Rabbi Aviva, I would like to give you a brief bio of our wonderful new addition to our Bima. Student cantor Daniel Geigerman was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. He graduated from Webster University with a BA in music. Daniel received his Master of Sacred Music in 2020 from the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music at Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion in New York, and he is a candidate for ordination at the Academy for Jewish Religion in Yonkers, New York. Dan has previously worked for multiple synagogues throughout North America, including St. Louis, Missouri, Hilton Head, South Carolina, Malibu, California, Miami, Florida, New York, Scotch Plains, and Jersey City, New Jersey, and Ottawa, Canada. He strives to enrich every aspect of Jewish life with his beautiful voice, inspiring commentary, and his knowledge of Reformed Jewish liturgical music, both traditional and modern. And in his own words, "My goal is to blend my love of Judaism and music in a way that brings joy and spirituality to the world." We look forward to sharing much joy and music and education and all that stuff with him. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom. So wonderful to be back here with you. Yes. So wonderful to see those of you who are in our sanctuary, and hello to all the folks who are worshiping with us from home. And a big welcome to student cantor Dan. And I'm so pleased to be sharing the Bima with him. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. We're going to start with a song, a Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor, Mizmor, Mizmor Shir, Shir leyom haShabbat. 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 Tov, Tov, lehodol Adonai, lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov, Tov, להודות לאדוני, לזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור, מזמור, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. מזמור, מזמור, מזמור שיר, שיר ליום השבת. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. Shabbat. Mizmor, mizmor, mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat.
And now I think we're ready to light our candles for Shabbat. You can find the bracha on pages 120 and 121. And please join me in singing the bracha in just a moment.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. And now we continue with Kiddush.
On pages 122 to 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinichilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikraei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'v'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
Chaim.
Particularly good vintage. Before we sing Shalom Aleichem, which is a prayer to welcome all of the angels of Shabbat, we're going to be there in just a moment on page 142. But before we do, I would like for us to greet one another, because we are all malachim in some way. Malachim are angels, but they're also messengers of God, and we can all be messengers of God with how we act toward one another. And all of us in this room are just shining with Shabbat angelness. So let's take a moment and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. If you don't know the people around you, introduce yourselves. Shabbat Shalom. And for those folks at home, we're wishing you a Shabbat Shalom too, and your angels of Shabbat as well. And we feel your radiance as you watch us. Page 142, let's sing to all of the Shabbat angels with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, השרת מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And now let's turn back in our Siddur to pages 138 and 139 for the Lecha Dodi. And as is our custom here, I think Cantor Dan is planning to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Okay, so join us on page 138.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בריבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ולתחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה זו מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בימי שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בימי שבת נקבלה.
So don't get too comfortable, because we're going to rise once more, or stay standing if you are able to do so, for the Baruch, the call to worship, on page 146.
Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, 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 yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Die, 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 Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai.
Please take a seat as we continue with the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer on page 148.
Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim, ma'ariv aravim. Bechokma poteach sheharim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם, ורקיע כרצונו. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. Orei yom v'layla, אלור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. Adonai Tzebaot Shemo. El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
We now turn to page 150 and read in the English. Please read with me. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Those who are able to do so, please rise as we sing together the Shema, pages 152 and 153.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. As we turn the page to page 154 and chant the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meotecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, vidibarta bam, beshivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha baderech, uvshochbecha, uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beineinecha, Uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem
come now to page 160. And in a moment, I'll invite you to close your eyes, as I will as well, and listen to our wonderful new student cantor, Dan, as he sings these beautiful words. It was so beautiful in rehearsal that I decided it should be silent except for his voice and the piano, because he really conveys every word with so much feeling. And the words, as we can see here, are about asking God to give sheltering presence to the places in our world where we need it the most, which could be our own hearts, those who are in this very room, or people very far from here. So most of the time I invite you to sing with us, and we like to fill the room with song, but now I'm going to invite you to sit back and just contemplate that image as Cantor Dan sings.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ushmor tzeiteinu Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu shomreinu lechayim Baruch atah Haporei sukat shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim
We are indeed very blessed here at Temple Sinai. And now we turn to page 164 and rise for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu,
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, Eleyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, U'mevii gula livnei v'neihem, Leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol autarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim berofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umkayim emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha b'gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umchaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emonot halachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Hayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim hoyom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please take a few moments for silent meditation.
Say shalom imromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom. shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Osei shalom bimroma uyasei aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav uyasei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Osei shalom bimromav uyasei shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
So now let's take some of that positive energy and think of those who are in need of some healing at this time, some of whom are members of our congregation, some of whom may even be here tonight or worshiping from afar, but watching and listening. And let's send some of our positive energy to these people. I have here a list of those who are in need of healing, and I'll be looking at that list as we sing tonight, the Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov. Misha Berach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, ve'Rachel. May the ones who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Avraham,
Please say aloud
Yitzchak,
those you are thinking of at this
ve'Yaakov.
time who are in need of healing.
Misha Berach Imoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, ve'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer. Hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us strength, show us the way. Misha Berach Avoteinu, Misha Berach Imoteinu. Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer and bless us as well. Hear our prayer.
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 Hear our prayer and bless us as well.
Last week, we began our annual cycle of Torah reading with Parshat Bereshit, which includes the story of creation and the story of the Garden of Eden, and how humanity was banished from Eden, never to return. Since that time, we have sought an Eden-like state. In our tradition, we have a few mitzvot about a few times that we can help us to reach a kind of restful return to paradise in our experience of and awe for all of creation. And one of these times is, of course, the weekly practice of Shabbat. Shabbat is meant, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel famously said, as a day to be rather than to do. We appreciate the works of creation. We are awed by them, and we don't try to change them. This year, we are also celebrating what is called the Shemitah, or sabbatical year, when we are commanded by the Torah to share our food and open our fences to animals and to let the land rest. Rabbi David Seidenberg discusses this in his article entitled Out of the Ark and Into the Garden, Shabbat Noach in the Shemitah year. Rabbi Seidenberg points out that there are 3 times in the Torah in which the Torah specifies that we are to share our food with the animals. The first was during the creation story in Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 to 30, when God says, "Here, I've given to you every plant seeding seed which is on the face of all the land, and every tree which has in it tree fruit seeding seed. For you all it will be for eating, and for every wild animal of the land, and for every bird of the skies, and for every crawler on the land in which there is a living soul," which is called a nefesh chaya, a living soul, "every green plant for eating." And it was so. The second time is found in our Torah portion, and this week is, of course, Parshat Noach, the story of Noah. And in this Torah portion, when God tells Noah how to prepare for the flood in Genesis chapter 6, verses 19 to 21, God says, "From all life, from all flesh, 2 from all, you will bring into the ark and keep them alive with you. Male and female they will be. From the bird by their species, and from the animal by her species, from every land crawler by their species, 2 from all of you. 2 from all you will bring unto you to make them live. And you take from all the food which is eaten, and gather unto you, and it will be for you and for them for eating." And then much later in our Torah, in the book of Leviticus chapter 25, 6 to 7, we read the laws of the Shemitah or sabbatical year, which says, "Adonai spoke unto Moshe in Mount Sinai, saying, You all will come into the land which I am giving to you, and the land will rest, a Shabbat for Adonai. And the Shabbat growth of the land will be for you all for eating. for you and for your male servant and for your female servant and for your hired worker and for your settler living as a stranger with you, and for your animal and for the wild animal which is in your land, all of the produce will be to eat. The early rabbis debated whether the tree fruit in the Garden of Eden was just for the humans and the grasses for the animals, or whether all of the plants were for all of them. But regarding Noah's Ark, according to a midrash, Noah had one giant store of every type of food to feed each type of animal. And Noah and his family had to take turns feeding all the animals 24 hours a day, because some of them were diurnal, some of them were nocturnal. So it was constantly making sure that they were fed. Between the time of Noah's Ark, when there was this symbiosis of sorts between humanity and other animals, and the Shemitah, which we're commanded of and that we're celebrating this year, between that time were the horrors of humanity's cruel relationship with the land and its creatures. And we see this first in this week's Parsha, when Noah and his family emerge from the ark. At that time, in Genesis 9, they are told the following: "A terror of you and a dread of you will be over every wild animal of the land and every bird of the skies. Everything which crawls the ground and all the fish of the sea, into your hands they are given. All that crawls, which lives, for you it will be eating." Remember, this is before kashrut, so it was all for eating. "Like green plants I have given to you all. But do not eat flesh with its soul, its blood." And so, as Rabbi Seidenberg points out, this is actually a curse, not a blessing. We think of this as having dominion over the animals, the other animals. But Rashi wrote in Bereshit Rabbah that in Eden, Adam would call to the animals and they would run to him. But after the flood, after God says, "And they will have dread and terror of you," the animals would run in terror from the humans. The way that we can return to an Eden-like state, but as adults now, who know the difference between good and evil, not like Adam and Chava when they were first created and did not know the difference between good and evil until they ate of the fruit. Now we know that we have the power to destroy. So we need to choose instead to join with the land and other creatures on our planet. This is about finding rest and letting creation rest. This year of Shemitah is a time of rest. The Hebrew term used for Shemitah rest is Shabbat Shabbaton, complete rest for the land. Now, although this mitzvah was specifically meant for the land of Israel, there are lessons to be learned from this all over the globe, especially now with climate change bringing floods, deadly fires, and other so-called natural disasters, but which are anything but natural. We need to learn the lessons from the scientists, ecologists, environmentalists, and others to give our misuse and abuse of the land and seas a rest. On this Shabbat, when we contemplate creation, let us each commit to one way in which we can make a positive difference in our natural world. Let us learn the lessons of Shemitah to inspire us to stop overconsumption of our natural resources. This is how we may return to the Garden of Eden, when we were stewards of the land and friends with the animals. Let us remember that Adam, the first human, was created from Adamah, as I mentioned last week, or as Lynn mentioned in my stead last week. The first human was created, Adam, from Adamah, the earth. Adamah means earth. And so let us all become Shomrei Adamah, guardians of the land, as this year of Shemitah demands of us, as we recall our deep connection to and interdependence with the earth. Shabbat Shalom. And now for a few brief announcements.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Tonight's Erev Shabbat sponsors for our service include Richard Sherwin in memory of David Sherwin, Sheila Singer in memory of Phyllis Bostocki and Bernard Bostocki, and Judy and David Stern in honor of David's birthday. Happy birthday, David. We are grateful to a sponsor as well for the community food banks to provide sustenance for those who are in need. And we again thank Richard Sherwin in memory of David Sherwin. By the way, gratitude to our entire congregation for all of the food that was supplied during the holiday time for the gathering for the Rails Food Pantry. We really provided so much food this year. Thank you, everyone. Our Saturday Torah study, which Rabbi will lead at 12 noon on our Zoom channel, sponsored by Ursula and Harry Reiner in memory of Bernard Plout, Linda Tronfeld in memory of Raymond Schneider, and Dr. Jerome and Joyce Simon in memory of their beloved son, Robert Maxwell. We're grateful to all of our sponsors and donors. Some announcements. Sundays at Sinai returns in just a week. On the 17th, our FAU professor, Miriam Sanua Dalen, will be presenting at 3 o'clock. If you have questions or would like to learn more about Sundays at Sinai, please see Jane Brown and Estelle Morgenstein. They are here, and you can see them at the end of service tonight. Brotherhood and Sisterhood are sponsoring our first movie night of the season. The film Keeping the Faith will be shown on October 23rd. Please see David Stern for more information or to make a reservation. I'd like to share something extremely important for all of us here and our viewers as well. The Delray Public Library, in conjunction with the American Museum of Holocaust Studies in Washington, D.C., and the American Library Association, has begun a 6-week wonderful exhibit that is at the Delray Library downtown. It is the first presentation of this wonderful exhibit that will be traveling throughout the country over the next 15 months, Americans in the Holocaust. It is an education. Some of us had opportunity to attend the preview earlier this week, and there are many, many programs, and I am proud to say that Temple Sinai, and especially our library fund, is a wonderful sponsor of this event. There is program information in the lobby about the different programs that will be presented over the next 5.5 weeks now through the middle of November. And I really encourage everyone to make an effort to look at the programs that are out in the lobby area, look online, choose the different programs that you would like to attend, and make sure that you share the information with your friends and family members locally. This is not to be missed. I'd like to also let everyone know that we had our first teen youth group program last Saturday night. Our teens were outside on the patio, getting to know one another once again face to face with Havdalah. And if you have any questions and have teens in your family, you do not need to be a member of Temple Sinai to participate in our Tasty program, our Temple Teen program. Please see Kyle and or Hayden, who are sitting at the computer screen so we can broadcast this nationwide. There will be many teen events for the older students in our school population, and there is also going to be a junior youth group this year. On behalf of Betty, myself, our clergy, and our Board of Trustees, everyone have a very healthy week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Lynn. In a moment, we will sing the Aleinu. We'll open the Ark. But before the Aleinu, there is a beautiful piece of music that Cantor Dan will present to us. I think he did once before when he was
Yes.
here. Yes, it's a beautiful prelude to the Aleinu.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were freed to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Aleinu lishabeach. It's time to live our praise.
Page 586.
Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol, lateit gidula leoser breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzon, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please take a seat. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal light, law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. This Shabbat, we recall the Yartzites, the anniversary of the passing of the following people whose names are illuminated on the plaques surrounding the sanctuary. Theodore Aaron, Godfrey M. Aronson, Phyllis S. Bastaki, Dr. Maurice O. Belson, Zema Bennett, Ida Bergman, Stella Cohen, Erwin Glick, Emil Halle, David Halpern, Sylvia Wolf Levinson, Ronald Mandler, Jonathan Palmer, Ruth R. Shapiro, David Sherwin, Albert Zimmerman, A. Jack Sweet, George S. Wagman, and Doris Wertheimer. Others recalled at this time: Sidney Arst, Edward Broadman, Randy Cohen, Joseph Corwin, Dorothy Friedfeld, Gerson Green, Sally Levy, Bernard Plout, Jeffrey A. Rafelson, Raymond Schneider, Lillian Schoen, Frida Silverberg, Robert M. Simon, Charles Vogel, and Francis Weiser. And with sadness, we recall the more recent passing of the following, whose Shloshim period, the 30 days past the burial, we are still in at the moment. We recall Carl Love, Martin Lubelski, George Greenberg, and Wilma Billy Kahn. If you are recalling someone whose name I did not say, please rise or raise your hand so I can acknowledge you to say the name. And those at home who have a name that you are thinking of, please say those names now as well. And now we rise in solidarity with mourners everywhere, and remembering, of course, those victims of the Shoah. We recite the Mourner's Kaddish together on page 598. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divarach hirite v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olal me'almaya. Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal. Shemitah Kudusha Barichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shalom araba min shemaya. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bin Ramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who mourn among us. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Please take a seat for our closing song.
Or stay standing, doesn't matter.
Either way, you can stay standing if you want.
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.